Crush the oppressors, claim your birthright, and burn their kingdom to the ground!
All we need to start the fire is a single spark.
A champion who wishes to dismantle a system of government that oppresses a certain group of people, whose only answer to this system is pure chaos and anarchy. A system that only leaves a power vacuum, one that could potentially do more harm to Demacia than good. This champion could be a good opportunity to talk about how the system of government of an entire country impacts the psychology of its citizens and I will literally make you kneel before her thighs.
Oh, the irony.
Qiyana's lore does not fail to keep on reminding us about how incredible her strength is as an elementalist. It is this strength that gained her support from the people of Ishaukan, and favor from important court members. These people follow her because of her skill. There hasn't been an elementalist as powerful as Qiyana in the city-state's history. But does that mean that she should be a leader? Qiyana is a powerful and skillful individual. But are those the only qualifications needed for being an effective leader? There is often this misconception, not just in fiction, that the strongest person automatically is the best option to be a leader. In our more mundane world, this can be translated as the person with the most technical skill, the person who knows how to do their job well. Whether it's the best programmer, the best artist, the best laborer, people often assume that the person with the most technical skill should be the leader when it comes down to selecting one, like when selecting someone to be the director of some project at work. Although the logic makes some sense, the issue with this idea is that being a leader is more than just being the best at a certain skill. There are other aspects of the person that you have to consider when selecting a leader. Can they work well with others? Can they motivate people to work with them? Or, possibly the most important one to ask, what is their motivation for being a leader, if there is any to begin with? As you can see, there are several facets to focus on when selecting a leader. Qiyana is probably the most powerful person in Ishaukan, but does that mean she should be entitled to be the leader of the city-state? Maybe. I'm not trying to suggest that someone with incredible skill cannot be a leader. It is possible that Qiyana may end up becoming a great leader. I'm only suggesting that strength is not the defining criteria for a leader. It's definitely a good start though. So how can we determine if Qiyana will be an effective leader or not? Her lore pretty much just shows that she is powerful. But what if I told you that there is a way for us to determine this? To determine if someone would be an effective leader. There are several theories of leadership in psychology that are used mainly to help businesses and organizations determine the workers that have potential to be effective leaders. Yes, psychology is much more than just telling people how shitty your life is. But back to the topic at hand. I believe Qiyana's lore provides us with enough information to establish a leader motive profile. The leader motive profile is a combination of different needs within a person that determines how effective of a leader that person will be. Leaders have different motivations for being in that position. These different motivations have an influence on the behaviors and decision making of that person doing that job. The leader motive profile boils down these motivations into 3 categories. Categories that tend to have certain behaviors and personality traits associated with them. According to this model, everyone has each of these motivations, but what makes each person unique is which one has more influence than the other. The 3 main motivation factors are achievement, power, and affiliation. Achievement is a desire to do better than others around you. People with this motive often seek to solve problems and master difficult tasks. They're dependable, disciplined, diligent. Alliteration. Power is a desire to control other people. People with this motive seek to influence the behaviors of others and be responsible for their work. They're energetic, dominant, capable. Affiliation is a desire to establish and maintain close relationships with other people. People with this motive look to cooperate with others and are concerned about what their people think of them. They're social, sensitive, understanding. Leaders have a combination of these three motivation factors and generally have one factor that holds more influence over the others. Sure, you may think that each of these should make a good leader, but that's not the case. All of the research done on this actually suggests a certain ratio tends to lead to effective leadership. Therefore, we can at least predict the kind of ruler Qiyana would be by establishing her leader motive profile. In other words, what motivates Qiyana to become a leader? Let's start with affiliation. It's safe to say Qiyana is not really motivated to maintain relationships. This does not mean that she doesn't care about people, but rather it's not her top priority. Surprisingly enough, it is recommended that leaders have a low need for affiliation. This way, relationships do not influence key tasks expected out of leaders, such as discipline. A leader must be able to do things like correct mistakes, call people out on their bullshit, or let go of people entirely if they are an issue. This can be difficult to do if your main concern as a leader is keeping a relationship. Therefore, having a low need for affiliation is beneficial, but not too low where you burn every bridge you come by. So things are looking pretty good with Qiyana, who doesn't really express a desire to maintain relationships at the expense of what she believes is good for her city-state, even going as far as to go against her own family. Whether or not she was right to open Ishaukan to the rest of Runeterra is up to debate, but it does demonstrate that her close relationships do not have an influence on her decision-making. She will do what she believes is right, while at the same time not having a complete disregard for the necessity of relationships. She couldn't become the ruler she wanted, but she accepted becoming the head of Ishtal's defenses and vowed to never cross paths with an outlander again as a compromise with her family that would give both parties what they want. Qiyana gets influence over Ishaukan by being head of defenses, while her family keeps her from fighting her sisters to rule. Therefore, I believe she has low motivation for affiliation, but at an appropriate level. How about achievement? There is no question that Qiyana has a need for achievement. Her ambition was present as early as 7 years old, the age when she mastered the advanced techniques of an elementalist. She grew to become the strongest elementalist, so much so that she felt entitled to lead Ishaukan. Of course, tradition states that her eldest sister Inessa is the rightful heir to rule, but that clearly didn't stop her, going as far as to challenge her to ritual combat and win. Despite not getting her goal, she still plans to climb the ranks from her position to not only become ruler of Ishaukan, but the Empress of Ishtal entirely. There's no question that Qiyana has a high motivation for achievement, which, depending on how high it is, can be problematic. People motivated by achievement have a desire to personally improve themselves, which isn't a bad desire, but when in a position of leadership, you have to consider what is best for the group or organization that you're leading. Qiyana can very well end up becoming too obsessive with her need to overcome the next big task. Suddenly that whole "conquered by me" line of hers makes more sense. But it's not like having a desire to accomplish difficult tasks for the good of your people is a bad thing. Therefore, a moderate need for achievement is beneficial for effective leadership. I suppose it isn't too bad as long as she has someone there to remind her to chill every now and then. But I guess some people are just not good at that job. All that's left is power. Now, power is a significant portion of this motive profile. You see, according to this theory, it's advantageous for leaders to desire power, to enjoy being in the leadership position. That whole thing about, "I don't want it, that's why it must be you," is not always the best philosophy for choosing a leader. Maybe for choosing the King of Westeros, I guess, but not at work. Being a leader is like any other job. If you actually desire to do the work that you do, then you're likely to make sure you do a good job. Therefore, a desire to have power is necessary for a leader. You see, power is neither good nor bad to possess. It's all about the motive behind the desire for power. And here is where one may begin to question if Qiyana should lead. Not me, of course. Just so you know. Hashtag Team Qiyana. Back to the motivation factor of power. Power is the desire to have influence over others, but according to this theory, it is used for two different reasons. Personalized power is power used for personal gain. Being a leader means that you have an authority over others, and your decisions actually have impact. Plus, in the job market, it pays a lot more to be a director or head administrator. That can be very attractive to people, so they seek out positions of leadership to simply have that power. Socialized power is power used for the sake of helping others, using your influence to be able to create some changes within the lives of those around you. Effective leaders have a high need for power, but specifically socialized power. A leader who is not focused on maintaining their own personal gain will use the resources and influence they have for the actual cause they were meant to be used for. Now, which form of power do you think Qiyana is searching for? Qiyana does care about Ishao Khan and wholeheartedly believes she has its best interests in mind, but she also has a burning desire for recognition. A desire caused by parents who focused their attention on her older sisters, Inessa receiving the most. Qiyana felt she hadn't been given an opportunity to demonstrate how effective she can be. She was frustrated with how her parents refused to acknowledge her extraordinary talent, which led her to lash out in the way that she did, picking fights with her sisters to try to prove her worth. The more rejected she felt, the more desperate she got, to the point where she took matters into her own hands and slaughtered Piltovan miners that threatened the safety of their lands. Qiyana's desire for power is partially motivated for personal reasons, to gain recognition. When she couldn't gain it from her parents, she settled for the respect she got from her people. Therefore, our Empress-to-be may want to retain her position of leadership for the recognition she gets, to retain the personal gain she gets from power. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is her only motivation. What I'm saying is that it is concerning how this is a part of her motivation. She wants to stop the damage foreign explorers are causing to their lands, which is a cause that will benefit her people and the environment. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that her ambitions always go back to the idea of recognition. Qiyana felt a burning need to be recognized for her exceptional skill. In fact, all of Ishao Khan should stand proud with her and put the world in its place with their powerful magic. Qiyana stewed, impatient to prove her strength to the world, and determined to prove her parents wrong. Qiyana's personal relationship with her parents has left her starved of respect and recognition, which she gained after people began to show her support. She may keep the interests of Ishao Khan in sight as the leader, but how long before she begins to be concerned with maintaining her status, the respect that she never got from her parents? Qiyana has a low need for affiliation, a pretty high need for achievement, and an even higher need for power. As of now, I'll say that her need for power is socialized. However, the need for recognition leaves her highly susceptible from shifting between socialized power to personalized power, which can be problematic for a leader. Qiyana cannot be expected to make decisions for the better of Ishao Khan if her main concern is having people recognize her strength. She's already prone to violence when she feels her decisions aren't being respected, violence that is indiscriminate. Imagine if she was in charge of the defenses of Ishao Khan, essentially giving her access to an army to command. Oh wait. Hello my people! I've given you her leader motivation profile, so now let me know what you think. Would Qiyana be an effective leader for Ishao Khan? I'ma let y'all decide that for now. I had originally planned on making a video on Sylas, but the Qiyana craze has not died down for me, and I got to show you a different side of psychology, the more work-centered one. I thought it'd be fun to show you that psychology isn't all about therapy, so maybe next time, Sylas. And as always, my people, thank you for watching.